Start recording. So we are now recording the August 17th, 2018 Small Business Accounting Advisors. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
Happy Friday.
Oh, yes.
Friday.
And Matthew, first time on our show. This morning you were on with Seth. Had a great hangout talking about SEO.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. A little nervous, but it was a lot of fun. It was.
I had a question on that. Like, for example, I have a UPS store. I don't want my name on my Google Maps, but I've had people who actually show up my UPS store looking for me.
Yep. So here's the secret. My address that was on there is a UPS store. You have to be careful when you're using a UPS store because Google doesn't like it. Knock on wood. Most of the time when people use a UPS store, they do line 2. So you'll have your address, 4744 Telephone Road, then line 2, suite 3-114. I put it all into one line. And I've made sure every single one of them have it exactly like that. And I don't know if that's part of the reason why it hasn't been captured that way or not, but it's working for me. They haven't flagged it. We now have a different office in Camarillo. Now I'm trying to figure out how I can do both so I don't ruin my SEO on a new location.
So you're saying that, like, for example, it's like PMB, like mine's PMB, what is it, 144 or something like that. You know, Suite A. It's like at a shopping center. It's next to like a Safeway, and these got their own little address within that block. And I have to see how it made. But if you go search, it looks like it's, you know. But I have had people actually show up at my UPS store looking for me, and
we have two. Only about twice, but it does happen.
Actually, I don't like people drop. You know, I don't want drop-ins, so it's kind of like, you know, I think I put down like mailing address. So, but some people, especially people that are older, tend to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to change lanes real quick. Lynda Artisani, you're new. This is the first time. Well, not new. You've been on the show before, but it's been a while. So I wanted to say hi to you, too. And you have to leave us in about 10 minutes, correct?
Yeah, I'm already getting what are you doing online?
Let's talk about finding your buddies.
My buddy. Well, I don't know if I should say it out loud because I don't think I was supposed to do it. But when I got put on the Intuit Advisory Council and I got an email saying that I was going to get a buddy, and I looked at the names on the list and I was like, I want Mariette because she's fun and vivacious and tons of energy, and I admired her from seeing her a couple of years earlier in a QuickBooks Connect conference. So I asked if there was any way they could put me with her, and I got put with her because Mindy likes me. I brought Mindy candy. I love
so
her.
what is the Intuit Advisory Council? I mean, is that like giving feedback on trends and advice, or what?
It's giving feedback on the program, make it better, basically. We have fun.
Lynda and I she's been telling me a little bit more about it here and there. We've actually been trying to collaborate towards creating a webinar that's kind of community-based was the whole goal. We're still trying to figure out some of the details of exactly how it would work, but we thought it'd be great to be able to answer people's questions live, like a live Q&A type thing. So she's shared a little bit more about it with me, and what she basically does is help provide the accountant's perspective to Intuit on what works well, what doesn't, why it does, why it doesn't, and I think they meet like a couple times throughout the year to just give that feedback. So in a sense, kind of help to steer the ship as much as we can as accountants.
That's awesome. If I have feedback, I'm going to let you know, Lynda.
Tell Mariette.
We'll tag team it. Yeah, just a one quick comment on accountant council. And Lynda, that was so awesome. I agree with her on buddies. Obviously, I think a lot of us have become buddies. That's why we're on Gina's show. That's how Matthew came to this show, because he buddied up with someone on here, and now he's here. And obviously, I think we all kind of start with Seth. He's our like #1 buddy, and then we kind of grow from there. Yeah, I do want to mention that it's just so important to find that person you connect with. And I didn't know that Lynda, connected with me in that way, but it's just so awesome when someone finds a connection. But she did two things. She connected and then she went for it. And I think that's important, is that a lot of times we may feel like we connected with somebody, but we're scared. Like, is that person going to think I'm like psycho? Like I'm a stalker? But if you connect with someone, just go for it. Just don't be scared, because it's amazing. I think Seth mentioned it today, Matthew, on his show, that it's true. The way I met Seth is I stalked him for like 6 months. I knew I wanted to be his friend. And then I went to QuickBooks Connect and I saw him across the street and I was like, and I yelled at the top of my lungs. And he thought that was the coolest thing ever. And he ran across the street from a hotel and gave me a hug. And that's how it all started. So I love that. I think don't be scared. Don't be scared to find your buddy.
And not only that, but I knew I picked the right buddy, because the first day they were asking who connected with their buddy and who, got information. Like my biggest question was, how do I dress, right? Girl thing. And everybody's like, I didn't know I even had a buddy. And I'm like, oh, I got the right buddy, because my buddy gave me all the inside scoop of what I needed to know. So I knew I picked the right buddy.
Yeah.
All right, I'm getting
and also real quick about Accountant Council. Bye, Lynda.
Bye,
about
Lynda.
Accountant Council, anyone that's watching.
Come back and join us.
Bye, Lynda. Thank you for coming. Those of you that are watching this and want to know about Accountant Council, there's a lot to know about it. I'm not going to go too much into it. But as Matthew mentioned and Lynda mentioned, it's not only about the feedback. It's actually about the network. So you're there with 17 to 20 other thought leaders, influencers, accountants, bookkeepers, and tax professionals. They get you all together for 2 days, twice a year. So that's basically 2 days, twice a year, so 4 days a year, and you're on the board for 2 years. So you really actually get, you get 8 opportunities to meet with these people. And I have met some of my closest colleagues that I've actually continued to now work with on council. So it's a lot more than just feedback. I just want everybody to know that. It is very time consuming and it's a big commitment, but it's pretty powerful stuff.
You have to think about what you say when you go there too. I was actually at Accountex. They had kind of a development. I'm not going to say council. It was a session where the developers came in and they just wanted to talk to people that used QuickBooks, and they, what do you do? How do you work? Like I use 2 monitors. I'm using source documents on one. I'm working on, that kind of thing. So it's really awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Next time around, I'm going to get in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our next subject, Miss Lynda Russell. We're going to talk about what 20 years of experience does for you.
Well, one thing is the 20 years experience, you've gone through a lot of different resource material over that 20 years. And so you learn to which email list to be on and what emails to scan in that. And one of the things that I picked up just today, probably a couple minutes before I got on this, I was scanning my emails, and I'm going to share my screen here, but this just came in and it's kind of important. Let me see what, here it is. Let me see this. So this is one of the emails I get, and I would guess many of you also get, the Insightful Accountant. Yeah. This one here has been written by Murph. If I were to scroll down, see at the bottom here, it says by William Murphy, Senior Editor, August 17th. That's today. So this is important that if you are using, that there's a date of compliance here. So if you're using QuickBooks Desktop 2016, 2017, or 2018, and you are using QuickBooks Desktop Payments, I think it is it Payments?
The payment solution, yes.
Yeah, it says to prevent issues with your merchant accounts, make certain you update QuickBooks to the latest release. And here are the latest releases. 14 for 2016, 10 for 2017, and 7 for 2018. And that's by August 20th, as I look at my calendar over here, August 20th is Monday. So here it is Friday, there's Saturday, Sunday, Monday. for you to update your QuickBooks Desktop to the latest release if you want your QuickBooks Payments and merchant services to work. So that's like not a lot of time if your clients need you to go out and install the latest release. I'll probably send an email to all of my clients and ask to make sure they have installed that, and let them know if they have any trouble on Monday, they can contact me and maybe I can fit them into my schedule. But this is one of the many emails that I kind of skim all the time, and it's supported by people that are known experts in the field like William Murphy.
So you know William Murphy is an expert in this field, and you know when he puts out an article that you really want to read it, and you may be able to translate it and help your clients with it.
Absolutely, yes. And I've known William Murphy now a long time, probably for at least 10 or 15 of my years in business. And he recently got a Lifetime Achievement Award at Scaling New Heights in June in Atlanta.
He deserves it.
But there's a lot of other information you get from being in business for so long, especially if you find there's areas that you really like to do better than other areas. And so then you get better and better at that. And everybody has their own little niche where they find they get better and better at that. And then because of that, well, let me stop sharing my screen if I can find that little button. I'm looking for it. Is it maybe, hold on, maybe it's at the bottom here.
It's different for me than it is for you.
Can you stop sharing my screen or not?
It's at the top toolbar. If you have it at the top, it'll be like in the...
Thank you. I wasn't looking at the top. Thank you. It is right. It's in red.
Perfect.
There. Thank you. I was looking all over at the bottom and I couldn't find it. It's a little red rectangle with a white square on it that says stop share. So, but there's a lot of things that happen as a result of 20 years. When I see something that's wrong, 2 or 3 things right away come to mind as to why that was put in there wrong.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Profit and loss, if any number is a minus number, right away I go like, no, there's not supposed to be any minus numbers. Not unless you lost money at the very bottom line or something. But in any one of the areas, there are always pluses. They're either plus expenses, which of course get subtracted, or they're plus income, which get added. But when I see a minus number, but as soon as I look at it, right away 2 or 3 things pop into my mind right away, like, oh, I'll bet they did this, or I'll bet they did that. And like, your television doesn't work. Well, is it your remote? Is your TV unplugged? If you've done something long enough, there's certain things that are right there for you that wouldn't be right there for somebody who hadn't.
It helps you analyze much, much quicker. I do the same thing on the balance sheet. Anything that's negative on a balance sheet, I can tell you. You know, you see a negative number on a loan account, guess what? They're taking the payments out, but they never booked the loan. You know, so things like that you pick up really quick.
And you can usually find it and fix it very quickly also.
And you had also mentioned inventory, or when you're going from QBO to desktop or desktop to QBO in inventory, the names can only be 32 characters long.
Correct.
That's something that's not widely published anywhere, but you see it and you know it right away.
Right, and if all of this, and it turns out that Yvette was saying when those were items, those were inventory items, and when they got chopped like that, the invoices weren't right anymore because all of the items that were on the invoices had gotten chopped. And they were like twice as long as half of it was chopped off. So all of a sudden this inventory item looked like a whole bunch of them had merged together. So my thought was right away, why not go direct to the top, the people that are like the super experts at this? Because they're aware of what add-ons, what apps you can use with QuickBooks Online to make manufacturing work, like Fishbowl and many other apps as well. That's the one I think just on Wednesday, Fishbowl they did on Qbox, on Qbox.
Yes.
Wednesday, they did Fishbowl. And so that's what's fresh in my mind. But both Tim Grant, who's now going to be doing Tim's Tips every Thursday for that insightful accountant that I just showed you. He's going to be doing stuff there. So he's real familiar with it, and he's familiar with desktop, he's familiar with online, he's familiar with the apps that work with both of them. He's familiar with QuickBooks Enterprise Solutions Advanced Inventory. You want somebody who's worked with all of those for a number of clients to at least help you decide which way to go.
Absolutely. So that's another benefit of 20 years experience is the connections that you've made, the groups that you're in, and the people that you're working with. So
Yeah.
if you come across the problem that you just really don't know how to solve it, talk to some peers.
That's
Yes.
right. So Yvette called me and I gave her the 2 phone numbers. I gave her his business number and his cell number, and I said, as far as I know, he'd be happy to have you call his cell at 9:30 at night if you needed to. If not, call him tomorrow. He used to be in San Francisco, now he's in Reno. So I just get a kick like out of Ernest. I never know if Ernest is in California or if he's in Idaho.
He's like Brandon. He's traveling all the time.
It sounds like Missouri. Oh,
So anyway, but I'm a lot more comfortable in my skin and what I know and what I don't know. And knowing that I have some really good ideas for where to get answers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I have a question for Mariette, as a matter of fact. She might know. I failed the QuickBooks Online's recertification test twice now, so I have to pass it this 3rd time. So I'm wondering, I've gone through all the quick QBO training. I'm wondering if there's a particular webinar somewhere about the recertification that I could go search and find.
did you do all the questions, the test questions before?
I don't know where to get the test questions other than I took.
No, I'm talking about the questions where at the end of each module you've got,
Yes.
and from what I saw was that most of the test questions of the certification questions have the same questions, and they may change it from to a double negative to kind of try to confuse you, but it's basically
All those, and I got them all right on the training, and yet when I took the test twice.
how far are you away from passing? How many did you get wrong?
It doesn't tell you that.
Oh, it doesn't.
No, it tells you pass or you fail.
No.
And they said that when you go in to take it the second time, it doesn't show you a question that you got right.
Oh yeah, it does. It shows you all of them now. They completely changed the test.
I got all the questions again.
I remember when I took the advanced desktop the first time, they just gave you a number, a grade, and they didn't tell you what you got wrong. And then they tried to fix it where they tell you if you missed 3 out of 4 on section, 1 or 2, and then they changed it again finally because people were complaining so much about the ways administered.
It really does help. I have everything printed out, so I'll eventually find the right person. I may contact one of the people that taught. Oh, are you the right person, Matthew?
Yeah, so let's connect after this. I'm happy to try to help out. For the local Bookkeepers Association of Ventura County, we're putting on an event here in Camarillo on the September 15th where I'm going to be teaching a course to help people go through the process of becoming certified. So we can definitely talk and help you out with that because they did completely change the test.
I have a question on the advanced QBO certification. I took a look at it a couple of years ago, and what it seemed like, I took one section, it seemed like it was all or nothing. It was like you didn't get partial credit. Has that changed? Or
I haven't had to redo it, and I hope I don't have to because that was a hard test.
Yeah.
It was the old QuickBooks Online test was pretty easy. They've made some dramatic changes to the QuickBooks Online test now in a good manner. The advanced one was very you had to logically think through things, and you had to actually work through it. Like it wasn't just a simple multiple choice type concept. You had
Right, but the problem I see with that kind of test is that to make it scoreable with the computer, there's only one right way of doing it and getting to that answer. And if you get maybe 7 out of 8 right, but you miss one, you don't get any credit for partial credit. That's what I'm trying to say. At least this was like a couple of years ago, and I'd said, yeah, I got time for this. So
What it is. So when there's a test, you have to do whoever made up the test.
Exactly. Okay, we're going to move on to Mariette. Mariette has a couple things that she said she wanted to talk about today.
She's going to unmute.
Unmute, and we can talk about your feedback, or we can talk about, you can brag on your daughter a little bit if you'd like.
Okay, well, actually, I'll talk really quickly about kind of cover what Lynda just said, because I think that'd be more helpful for everyone listening. So the trick with the QuickBooks Online test, not the QuickBooks Advanced, that's totally different, but the QuickBooks Online certification test, many of us, like hundreds of us, all took it at the end of last month because we thought we were going to have an expired certification. So it's kind of funny because it was like a race on who would get it done quicker on the same day, on July 30th and the 31st.
Right.
So, so we were all taking the test and we were all passing the test, but we were also all not passing the first or second time. So I totally know what Lynda's saying. So basically, here's the trick. So back in the day, like, I don't know, we've all been, I think many of us have been pro-advisors for over 2 decades. So we've been taking this test for a long time. And like back on the desktop test days, what would happen is that you would take the test, just so everybody understands the new way, you would take the test and it would tell you what you got wrong, and you would print that out or screenshot it. Then you go back and take the test and answer it right because you already knew what the wrong answer was. And so you basically could go back and forth and kind of mess with the test maybe 1, 2, 3 times, and after the 3rd time, you would get it right because you already knew what the wrong answers were, and you wouldn't choose that answer over and over again. So that was the old way of many of us passing the test. I mean, that's the honest truth. That's how a lot of us just would get it done because we'd all want to get it done in like 2 hours, right?
Especially if they gave you 5 attempts, there's only 4 questions, so.
Thank you.
Yes, exactly. Right, Dennis? Yeah, it's like, really, I attempted it 4 times already. I only have 1 more choice, like, you know. And so, so anyway, and then usually, like, out of 5 questions, 5 answers, 2 of them would be ridiculous. And so you really only have 3 right answers that you could choose from. But now you don't have that option anymore. So here's the new way of passing the test. And I'm not trying to, like, you know, mess with the system. This is reality. This is how you pass the test.
Should this be offline?
So, no, it's not offline because it's not like trying to mess with the system. Number one, you definitely have to know QuickBooks, which everybody on this call and hopefully everybody that watches should know QuickBooks, meaning they know how to go in there and navigate it. So that's like part 1. So please don't go in there and become get certified on the first day you actually learn how to use QuickBooks, because that's not gonna fly. So, you know, you want to learn how to use QuickBooks first, which you all already know. Second is when you start taking the test, as Dennis mentioned, and I know you already did this, Lynda, you want to go through all of the learning modules that are under QuickBooks Pro Advisor training, and then you go to modules. So there's actually a module, and every module actually has a title to it. So bank fees, sales center, expense center, you know, whatever it is, every module has a title. Okay. And a lot of times we're so lazy, we don't want to go through every module, but you want to go through every module this time, because at the end of every single module, there's a set of 5 to 10 questions. Those are the exact same questions that are in the test. They're the exact same questions. So now here's the trick, everybody. Again, I'm not trying to tweak the system. This is reality. When you go through the module, they tell you what the right answer is because they want you to learn the right answer. So you actually learn the right answer in the module. Then what you do is you either write down the right answer or you screenshot it because you want to make sure you know what the right answer is. So then when you go to the test, and you see the same question, you already know what the right answer is because you've already gone through the modules and you've learned all the content and you've gotten all the right answers. So, okay, so one more step. So after you've done all that, which nobody does all that, they go straight to the test usually. So after you do all that, then you start taking the test. Now, when you start taking the test, everyone, this is the trick, is that the first time you probably didn't do that whole part I just told you. You probably just quickly went through the modules and went right to the test. So you don't know that the questions are the same questions that are in the module.
Right.
So when you go to the test the first time all together at the very end of the test, when you fail, and I know because I failed too, just so you know, I failed the first time a few weeks ago when I was doing this. I failed. And I failed, and you know what happens is that actually they tell you, you need to go back to the module called banking because you need to refresh yourself on the banking module. They're literally telling you which questions you got wrong because they're telling you which module it was in.
Yep.
Got it.
So now
questions
does that make sense, Lynda?
It does. I must have somehow missed it because I have that all printed out, and I'll just go back through the whole thing again, and I'll just go more slowly. I just
go slowly.
Too fast.
Yeah, the thing is that you need to, they're not exactly the same exact questions. Sometimes they'll, change the facts a little bit, but it's still the same concept. And so you can't just blindly.
And actually, Dennis, they're pretty much the same because I know I'm not going to be embarrassed about it. I'll be honest. I failed twice, and I was on my third chance, and I'm like, oh my God, if I don't pass it this time, I'm going to have to wait 60 days or whatever you have to wait. And so I went back, and they are the exact same questions. They're the exact same questions, and the answers are the same. And so don't worry, Lynda, you can do it. Just slow down.
I can do it. Thank you very much. I just must have been too careless. But
no, you were going fast, which I was too. I get it.
Yeah, that's right.
I looked at it as an opportunity to learn something new because I hadn't really known that much about the first section about the new client center and the what was it, the almost like a CRM where you have your workflows and that.
Oh, so yes, and project workflow, yeah. One other thing I wanted to add for those of you that are trying to pass, real quick, Dennis, I don't want you guys to forget. And I don't think you guys need, particularly on this call, but I think anyone that's watching, this could be really helpful. We actually have webinars. So in Intuit University, so if you go to Intuit University, we actually provide a webinar on the entire certification. So like everything that's getting covered, we actually it's an 1.5-hour webinar. That's why I'm like, I don't know if you want to watch it, but it's a free 1.5-hour webinar on what's covered. Have you seen that, Gina?
I have not.
I've actually been on those webinars, and I actually went to the in-person training too. So that's what I was trying to find. So do I go to Intuit University and then look for them there, the recertification?
Yep. Exactly. Yep, exactly right. That's another way of passing the test is actually taking the 1.5-hour webinar because we cover everything. We don't tell you exactly what the answers are, obviously, but everything else we do.
Right. Well, the one thing like with the workflow, I could not figure out, and I looked at all the answers, and I never was able to figure out. They're saying there's a report that you can get, and I went and I kept searching through my QBO looking for these reports, and I never used projects, so so I didn't do real well with that either. So I'm just going to go back to the Intuit University. I'll Google that, and I should be able to find it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to interrupt here for a little bit. Ernest has joined us. He is in the air. We have Ernest from an airplane. This is a first on our hangout.
Yes.
Playing right now, Ernest, really. Looks
Look
like
at it. He's in a plane.
You see the light above him with the whole vent thing.
Wi-Fi to watch us? Oh my God, look at that.
I got a message from Sarah who said that she just landed in Portland, and she may do a Facebook Live next week from Accountex, so that anyone that is not going, will be able to enjoy Accountex too.
Wonderful.
Sarah, I might be there. Might get a chance to say hi.
Oh, that would be nice. Go to her booth and say hi. Ernest.
Say hi to Sarah and say hi to QBox. Chris
Yes,
Wise.
say hi to
Ernest is going to be there too.
Yes, we know
Say
that.
hi to Ernest.
This is a nice
We
guy.
lost Mariette.
We did, but we got Margaretana.
Margaretana, hello.
You're muted.
Yeah, we may not have a mic or speakers or cam. So, well, I guess we will talk next week. Mariette can tell us how her daughter is doing with her new blog.
Yes, the young horse trainer.
Yes, yes. Well, before we go, Matthew has some stuff he wants to announce.
Yeah. Thank you. I actually, coming up towards the end of this month, it's going to be on August 29th. I'm going to be doing a webinar with QBox.
Can you hear it? I can't hear.
Me?
I don't know. Something must be the matter with your system, Dennis.
Okay.
Fine.
Sorry about that. So I'm going to be doing a webinar with QBox and LedgerSync and our application VendorSync. It's a workflow that I've deemed the remote accountant's toolbox. And the concept of it is, if you're a QuickBooks desktop user, it's the most efficient way to be able to grab your client's file remotely, bring it back, use LedgerSync to grab your check images, grab your transactions, and be able to update those details. And then you would process it through VendorSync to be able to batch edit the payee names, get the information into QuickBooks Desktop in the most efficient way possible. So I know on our Facebook, we have it listed there. I can put it into the group as well. But
Absolutely, please do.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Looking forward to it.
Post that on our SBAA Facebook page.
Thank you.
Okay.
And thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Happy to have you. So I think that's it for this week. We will see you all same time, same place next week.
All right, bye. Have a good
Bye,
weekend.
everyone.